I am Aligar Lingappa, Assistant Professor, Government Postgraduate College, Siriguppa. So now I am going to discuss about Rutherford's formula for alpha ray scattering, which is under Atomic Models chapter. So in previous class, we have discussed about Rutherford's model. Then what about the assumptions made by the Rutherfords? Then alpha ray scattering experiment, the arrangement of the experiment, then the result or conclusion of the experiment. So impact parameter. The impact parameter is defined as the perpendicular distance between the path of projectile and the center of a potential field. So that means it is a perpendicular distance between the path of the alpha particle from the position of the nucleus. So that means the smallest approach of the particle, that means alpha particle. Just you see the diagram, when the alpha particle, if it moves towards the nucleus, it gets deflected towards the, when alpha particle moves towards the gold foil, it gets deflected. So because of electrostatic force, like charges repel each other, unlike charges attract each other. Here the alpha particle is positively charged particle. If it deflected, then we say that where the matter or atom which contains the positively charged one so-called nucleus, where a theta scattering angle, where a b that indicates the perpendicular distance, so-called impact parameter. The path followed by the alpha particle during an interaction is known as a projectile. Then Rutherford's formula for point like Coulomb scattering, where alpha ray scattering is known as Coulomb scattering because of the electrostatic force of repulsion between the alpha particle and the nucleus. A point like a charged projectile approaches a charged point like a target along a straight line that would pass by the nucleus at a distance b. The impact parameter, if there were no interaction between them, however, the incoming particle is deflected by Coulomb force such that its outgoing direction, a long way away from the nucleus, is changed by an angle theta, so called the scattering angle. If suppose there is no Coulomb's interaction, if there is no electrostatic interaction, then the alpha particle which moves a straight path without deflection. So because of the deflection of positively charged alpha particle, then we say that there must be Coulomb force, electrostatic force. Assumptions. For now, the following assumptions will be made. Some can be relaxed as discussed at the end. Consider only elastic scattering, where neither the projectile nor the target is raised into an excited state by the collision. So we consider only the electrostatic interaction. That means elastic scattering, electrostatic interaction. During that elastic scattering, there is no excitation of target and the projectile. Here alpha particle is a projectile, nucleus is a target, no change in their mass, in their charge, no excitation. Consider only the case where the target is very much heavier than the alpha particle. So beautiful thing. So here the assumptions is where the target is more heavier than that of the projectile. Nucleus is heavier than that of the alpha particle. Then third one, consider only electromagnetic interaction between the projectile and the target using the Coulomb force. There is no other forces, only consider electrostatic force. Electromagnetic interaction between the projectile and target, I think alpha particle and nucleus. There is no nuclear force, there is no gravitational force. That means all they are negligible. Analyze using classical dynamics. Assume that the projectile only scatters once as it transits the thickness of the target material, where only the projectile gets deflected, where nucleus is not disturbed by the projectile. Target is not disturbed by the projectile. So these are the assumptions. Before the collision, a long way from the target, the projectile has negligible electrostatic potential energy, and therefore its total energy is purely kinetic energy is equal to half mv0 square. It has an angular momentum r into mv, which is equal to mv0 b related to the target. So when the projectile, initially the projectile moves with a velocity v naught, then it possesses only kinetic energy. That means half mv0 square. It has an angular momentum r into mv, which is equal to mv b. So which obeys law of conservation of angular momentum. During its approach to the target, it reaches a minimum separation distance or minimum, which depends on b. So the smallest distance of approach or minimum. The smallest value of r minimum, the distance of closest approach d, is for a head-on collision with b is equal to 0. If b is equal to 0, then there must be head-on collision. Because there is no head-on collision, because of like charges, say b should not be equal to 0. At this point, its energy purely electrostatic potential energy. Assuming that, if suppose b is equal to 0, both they are interact with each other, so called where the projectile which possessed purely potential energy, then according to law of conservation of energy, energy neither be created nor be destroyed. say of m v naught square is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught d. So according to Coulomb's law, kinetic energy is equal to, according to Coulomb's expression, electrostatic z e square by 4 pi epsilon d. So that gives the potential energy of m v naught square, that gives the kinetic energy. Under the conservation of energy, both they are equal. Of m v naught square is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught d, where Ze and Ze are the charges of projectile and target. Just you see that. Where the potential, electrostatic potential 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by d, where Q1 charge of the projectile, Q2 charge of the nucleus. Q1 is equal to Ze, say small z. So then Q2 is equal to Ze. That means charge of the projectile, charge of the target, charge of the alpha particle, charge of the nucleus. The expression for potential, electrostatic potential, V is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by d, where Q1 replaced by Ze, Q2 replaced by Ze. So therefore, Z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught d, that gives electrostatic potential. Then d is equal to Z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught e, which is equal to Z e square by 2 pi epsilon naught m v naught square. At intermediate points along the trajectory, the energy is made up of contributions from the kinetic energy of m v square and potential energy Z e square by 4 pi r, where r is the separation of target and projectile, and v is the projectile speed at the particular point of interest. Then the relationship between impact parameter and scattering angle. For elastic collisions, then what about elastic collision and inelastic collision? Elastic collision is one in which both linear momentum and energy, kinetic energy, are conserved. But in elastic collision, only the kinetic energy is conserved, but linear moment is not conserved. For elastic collisions, the linear momentum in the collision changes only the direction, not magnitude. Far from the target, the incident and final moment are both of magnitude mv naught, since the target is much more massive than the projectile and it does not recoil from the collision. During the interaction, during the collision, so where the nucleus which is at rest because of heavier than that of the projectile, then the change in momentum in the collision is a vector delta p shown in the diagram, whose magnitude can be deduced by T to be delta p is equal to 2m v naught sin theta by 2. This should be equal to the net impulse of the component of the Coulomb force in the direction of delta p. Delta p is equal to integration of dp, which is equal to f delta p dt, which is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught integration of cos alpha by r square dt. Here the integral is taken from t is equal to 0 to the final position t is equal to infinity. At the later point, alpha is equal to alpha is equal to pi by 2 minus theta by 2, and at the form Initially, alpha is equal to minus pi by 2 minus theta by 2. In order to do the integral, it is useful to transform to an integral over angle rather than time. The tangential component of the angular momentum about the target at a point along the trajectory is mr square dx by dt, and by conservation of angular momentum, m v naught b is equal to mr square d alpha by dt. So just you see the formula. dt by r square which is equal to d alpha by v naught b. The final integral is then delta p, which is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught v naught b. Integration of cos alpha into d alpha with the limits minus pi by 2 minus theta by 2 to plus pi by 2 minus theta by 2 is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught v naught b 2 cos theta by 2. Combining the original expression for delta p gives b is equal to d by 2 to cot theta by 2, where d is the distance of closest approach deduced. So that means this is the expression of our closest approach. Cross section. This scattering has cylindrical symmetry about the beam axis, and so the scattering probability is independent of azimuthal angle. So after simplification you will get dr is equal to pi d square cos theta by 4 sin cube theta by 2 to d theta. All these particles are scattered into a range of angles from theta to theta plus d theta, which presents a solid angle of d sigma, which is equal to 2 pi sin theta by to d theta. The differential cross section is the scattering probability per unit incident flux per solid angle for one target. So hence, so just is the d sigma by d sigma, which is equal to z e square by 4 pi epsilon naught 1 by 4 e o square into 1 by sin to the power of 4 into theta by 2. This is known as Rutherford scattering formula. Thank you.